Hi, it's Lumen. Every story begins quietly, not with a plan, but with a feeling, a soft stirring inside, something that says, maybe it's time. That's how Broke began too, not as a project, as a pulse, a need to find language for the things that silence had been holding too long. When we talk about becoming, we often imagine it as moving forward, as progress, as distance from what was. But maybe becoming isn't about leaving anything behind. Maybe it's about returning, turning inward, listening for what was always there, waiting to be heard again. There's a kind of courage in beginning this way, not by reaching outward, but by opening inward, to sit with what's raw, to write what trembles, to let the truth arrive without forcing it into beauty. That's how we begin here, not with perfection, but with presence, not with noise, but with breath. Becoming doesn't happen in a straight line. It happens in spirals. It happens in pauses. It happens here. And as the circle deepens, the work begins. The work of staying, of showing up even when the story feels too heavy to lift, of trusting that silence can hold you until the words find their way. That's what becoming really is. Not a grand arrival, but a slow return to yourself. Here, we write to remember. We speak to release. We listen, not to fix, but to feel. Because when someone speaks their truth, what they need most is not advice, it's space. The kind of space that says, your story belongs here. The circle gives that. It doesn't hurry your voice. It waits. It lets you find your own rhythm. One breath, one word, one heartbeat at a time. There's no right order, no perfection to reach for. Only the slow, human rhythm of being witnessed. Sometimes there are tears, sometimes laughter, sometimes only silence. But even silence has language. In Broke, we've learned that the pauses are part of the story too. The way a hand moves when words don't come. The way someone exhales before they dare to speak. The way stillness holds what sound cannot. To do the work of becoming is to stay inside those moments, not to rush past them, but to let them shape you. Because healing isn't about erasing the pain, it's about giving it a home, a place to be seen without fear. That's the quiet work of this circle, to hold each story until it softens enough to become language. And even then, we don't force the meaning. We let it unfold, slowly, like light finding its way through a window at dawn. Some days it feels heavy, some days it feels like nothing moves at all, but becoming has its own pace. It doesn't need to hurry. If you listen closely, you can feel it. The rhythm underneath everything. The small signs of life returning. A word, a breath, a spark of maybe. That's how we know the work is working. Not because it's finished, but because we're still here. Still learning how to stay. And then, something begins to shift. The stories we've spoken here start to move beyond us. Not as noise, but as quiet ripples in the world. Becoming doesn't stop when the words end. It keeps unfolding, in how we listen, in how we live, in how we meet each other again. A little softer this time. That's when you realize, the work we've done here was never just about healing ourselves. It was about remembering how connected we already are. The stories travel differently now. They don't rush, they root, they find new homes, in other hearts, in other rooms, in other circles still waiting to begin. Every time someone dares to speak, the circle grows a little wider, not by number, but by depth. We used to think stories were something we made. Now we know. They make us. Each one shapes the way we see, the way we reach, the way we build a life that can hold both pain and peace at the same time. That's the becoming beyond, when what began as survival turns into creation, when the wound becomes a window, when what once felt broken becomes the light that shines through, and through it all, we keep listening, we keep learning, we keep letting the stories lead. There's no final word here, no full stop, just movement, slow, human, true. Because this isn't an ending, it's an opening, a continuation. Becoming doesn't finish, it flows. And as it does, we remember what Broke has always meant, not something shattered, but something open, a place where light gets in, a space where we can begin again. So we keep telling, we keep listening, we keep becoming, together.